Hello and welcome to the Conspire Away B podcast. I'm your host, Kat Dunn, and today we have a very special guest on. And honestly, I feel like the first guest that we've had on the podcast that we don't have to stick him a new one, or what's the saying? Rip a new one? No ripping of new ones will be going on in this interview, I guess. Without further ado, allow me to welcome Joseph to the Conspire Away podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Kat. I'm so excited. I cannot wait to have these conversations. You're amazing. I'm so happy to be here.
No, you're amazing. First of all, was it a shock to get off of the show and see how loved you were?
Oh, I absolutely did not see it coming. I thought, I was like, I went to jury pretty early. I don't recall going in the DR and having that much time. I was like, I probably whatever, I did this and I'll just go back to lawyering. I did not expect to have this much support and love standing behind me. Absolutely not.
So I feel like this season, I was on a bad season of Big Brother too, so it's nothing personal. But I feel like, every time people come on the podcast, we're always like, well, why'd you say this? What did you say? What did you think about this? And stuff like that. And I really don't have that much of that to ask you about, because you're a good guy. So but I do have one thing.
I appreciate that.
I do have one thing. So you're actually not getting off the hook completely. I had to show you this one video
fine.
And I need to know, we need answers. So hold on, let me know if you can hear that.
Oh God, I'm getting
let me see. I'm also not very good with technology, so I was pull it up on my phone.
Oh, they call me Joseph 75, so I agree.
All right. So do you recognize this scene?
Okay, you are not doing this to me right now.
Yeah. All right, so let's play it.
Oh God.
What Taylor asked what was wrong and you said nothing, but what was wrong?
Oh my God. So I was working out. What was wrong was, oh my God. I'll give it Taylor. I was working out. When I'm working out, I was just damn, you're getting a pump. I'm looking around and I see Taylor's just laying there, and I'm just I don't know. That should have stayed in my head. that was definitely a slip. I actually remember that. I was just I finished hitting my set or something, and I was getting into the workout, and I looked and I was I don't know. That should have stayed in my head.
Those are moments. I thought it was in your head until Taylor was like, "What's wrong?" And you're like, "Wait, did I say that out loud?"
Yeah, no, it definitely was, which is why I was oh, nothing. And she was just laying there, chilling out and waiting. And I remember even thinking, I'm I'm working out, got this pretty girl just laying next to me. I was I'm kind of living right now. And then I was looking, I was fuck. I was oh, shit. When she was well, I was oh, damn it. So yes,
during
you caught me.
So during the whole Skid and Fancy thing, y'all were extremely close, and I hope this isn't an inappropriate question, but I feel like people want to know. Y'all were so close, y'all had to sleep in the same bed together, and yes. I don't know, why did you not make a move?
So my thought process during that whole timing was, I wanted it to happen a little bit more naturally. I don't know, maybe I was overthinking this. Together. Yeah, I was if the handcuffs come in, it shouldn't have been because Big Brother forced it, So I was definitely thinking in my head, I don't know, my standpoint was I wanted it to be a little bit more it came out of a natural occurrence and not because we're tied together. That's one, what I was thinking.
That's respectable.
Two, I just wanted to really, this is Taylor and I are definitely getting really, really close. So one, we're also talking in these fucking accents, which didn't foster, even though hilariously we had some really amazing conversations. I don't know for Taylor, but I know for sure my accent wasn't the sexiest thing to be oh yeah, let me rip this fucking wig off you right now.
Oh no.
So we were it just in our costumes, uncomfortable, whatever. So I really wanted to. I keep in mind, I don't know I'm going in the yard. I'm thinking I'm here for the long term. I'm thinking I'm going to be working with her longer. So I was this is only 48 hours. So there will be other opportunities and other chances to foster probably a better, more sexy environment. But right, like literally right after the punishment, soon after I'm sent. And then two, with Taylor, like me and her have not really solidified what the next steps are. So I'm definitely trying to figure out like, okay, like how should we do this? Like, let's have some conversation. So me not making a move, it's just I wanted to make sure Taylor was comfortable and like figure out her headspace and wait till the punishment was probably over.
Well, so I don't know if there was so much pressure in the house, but like when you first got evicted or when you just got evicted, Julie was like, so what about you and Taylor? And I feel like you kind of were maybe caught off guard a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I felt like you were always kind of nipping that in the bud really quick. Whenever people would bring up a showmance and they all had your phomance and you were always kind of nipped in the bud. Was that strategy or was that you just needed a bigger picture on everything? Or why were you doing that?
A little bit of everything. I did initially, like Taylor at first, like we had so many conversations about it. And at first it was like, oh, like you're here to play a game. I'm sure like a Big Brother rules, like showmances don't go that far. Like even I knew that. So I'm
season
really
they won,
trying to prioritize the game in this. Yeah, which hilariously I should have watched that then. But I was definitely trying to prioritize the game. So initially I'm like, okay, so I don't think that'll highlight either of our aspects, and of course outside of the game we can still meet up. And that's why initially I'm like, I don't know if this would be like the best environment. And two, once I start to really get to know Taylor and actually see potential there, I didn't think the Big Brother environment was going to create anything that could be long term. Like whether it came down to, if we had to go against each other, I just felt like it would become a very emotionally unstable environment to foster any type of productive relationship. So that's why I'm like so reluctant at first with it. And then also I'm like, I need to see a bigger picture here, like meet people outside of the game, like get to know like who they are. But the more time I spent with Taylor, and the more I got to know her as a person, I realized like this, like, she's playing as the person she is. And that's good. Because, in the Big Brother house, you never know who you're really dealing with, which was like a big thing for me.
You could be playing against a lawyer.
Yeah, literally. So that's why I was like, I definitely want, if I'm going to lower my guard, to have the full picture. And that's kind of where my mindset was on it. And then plus from the game aspect too, like I had my reasons, but obviously there was another showmance in my game and they had a lot of, conflicts that I wasn't too interested in joining. Like, that's why I also was like, I'm not too crazy about like starting this right now.
But let's move on to what's happening in the jury house. So you got evicted, went to jury. Right now, there's a lot of drama because Terrence did some interview saying that people like me are the ones who, I guess, like, we were asking questions and making people feel like they had to vote for Taylor to win the game. So I wanted to ask you, since you were there, do you remember like around when like Terrence came around to voting for Taylor? Because he voted for her. Was there any conversations in jury about that?
Yeah, so Terrence never shared that he had any hostility, at least to my knowledge. Like he, like him voting, me seeing it now, but him voting for Taylor did not come to a shock to me, because the way he spoke about Taylor to me and in the jury house was like was good. So when he voted for her and everything fell into place, like it perfectly made sense to me. So any conversation I had with him about Taylor was always productive. So that's why I was definitely like, I'm not too sure. I don't know. I didn't see like him when he voted that. I heard, Taylor's shock on the live, but yeah, to me it wasn't
Everyone
very
was shocked,
he only had good things. Yeah, he only had, whenever he interacted with me in the jury house about Taylor, it was always something positive. I mean, granted, he knew like I cared for Taylor and stuff, so didn't come to a shock to me that he voted for her.
I feel like I'm gonna have to have Terrence on the podcast, and the energy of calling people out, the respecting boundaries energy has to go out the window, because we need answers on that. That'll be for another time. But also specifically you in the jury house, there was a clip. It was after Alyssa had just come in the house, and we could tell that you were really upset. And there was a clip of you in in the jury, how she kind of stood back and you said one more week, like you were kind of defeated, but you said one more week.
Yes.
What did you mean by that?
I just wanted one. It was like at this point in the game, I really want to see Taylor and Monty. Like, I have not seen them in a while, and I'm honestly kind of counting down getting out of the jury house because I'm starting to lose my mind in there. And then just seeing them, because if you notice that comment I'm always saying is like, as I'm trying to piece together what's going on in the house with the people I care about. So I'm always like, that's why I'm kind of counting down is I get to see them. And with each week, and like, I would try and get bits and pieces of what like was going on with Taylor specifically and what she's saying, if she's relaying anything from me. So I am counting down in the sense where like, finally I can just stop playing telephone and like see her.
So what was that like when you saw Taylor for the first time in person? Like, walk us through.
Oh my God.
Walk us through what happened, because all we saw was your Instagram stories where you're like following a trail of chips. But how did we get from point A to point B?
From point A to point B. So what happened was, so I guess she thought I was mad at her. I thought she was mad at me. And so they put us in, the close space after where we're getting debriefed, and Taylor and I start messaging each other separately, like on the chat before the handlers find out. And she's just like, we need to talk, or like, she's like, I miss you. I'm like, I miss you too. And she's like, we need to talk. And I was like, I'll wait for you. I think they caught me in one of the interviews. I said something. She was like, just, can you wait for me? I have a couple interviews to do after. And I was like, I've been waiting. Like, I can wait a little bit longer. And so she gets out, I get out, and we both wrap up some things with the debrief. I wait for her, and then we link up, and we just start kind of like, first, like, I can see she's so flustered. She has a lot to like take in and settle out. She had, so we just start kind of discussing what happened. Like, we don't want to dive into like the majority of it, but one thing I can definitely see is that she took in so much in such a short period of time. And she was also in the game significantly longer than I was. So I also know, like, coming out of it initially, she's still in that decompression mode. So we really didn't even dive deep into the situation that was going on. We just kind of were like laughing, joking, I'm so happy to see you. And then like slowly later on, we like progressed and had conversations about everything that happened.
So another person that I'm dying to know what the, I guess, debrief was like was when you saw your sister for the first time. Because I know that she had to have filled you in on so much. What was like the first conversation like when you saw your sister for the first time?
So I saw my sister actually like yesterday or a day ago for the first time.
Oh, that's when you talked to her.
Yeah, that was the first time I spoke with her in person. My brother was the one who came out to LA, Adam, who was like there. He told me, and she told me both, because I called my family immediately, and we were all together. First, they were just like, we're so proud of you. We want to let you know that like we're so happy with the way you played. They were like, do you want us to give you everything? Because they're like, we have so much to tell you. And I asked them, I was like, please, not yet. Like, I know there's probably, considering the game I played, like good news, bad news. I would prefer to take that in on my own time. And they were just like not having it. Like, they were like, please, like, we need to tell you this. We want you to know this. We want you to know how to handle your relationships and who to associate with and going forward. Huh?
What'd they tell you?
They wouldn't. So they respected the fact that I was like, please, I'll get to that information in time. But
you're a better person than me.
Yeah. I was like, I'll get to that information in time because we just got out of the house. I'm thinking we're going to have like a reunion. Everyone's going to be there. Like, the last thing I want to do is like be approaching people like, why'd you say this? Why'd you do that? And go in that. Like, plus, like, the game actually concluded. So I didn't want to ruin what I would call a good moment with like a bunch of negativity. So my family paused on it immediately, and we just kind of more got involved with the I miss you, like, how was it? How are you doing? And we kind of just did a lot of that. But my brother was definitely ready to be like, this is what happened. This is how it happened. And like, this is how you should move.
Did they tell you anything about Taylor? Like, were they like, go get your
with Taylor specifically, that's actually one thing that the first thing they actually told me, which was good, was they were like, Taylor has your back. We love her. She supported you so much in the game. And they were like, she's a great person, which is for me, like, so reassuring because like I said, in the game, you don't always have a full picture. So they were just like, yeah, we love Taylor. Like that was probably one of the first things they told me, is they were just like, if you want to be close with anyone in the game, they were like, we absolutely love and adore Taylor, and she was always good to you. So I was like, okay.
So what did they tell you about Monty? I'm just kidding. You don't have to answer that.
They were just
unless
like,
you want to.
I mean, not much. Yeah, they no, not. I mean, obviously they had, like, he has his own relationship with Taylor specifically and what occurred in that. But I guess to me directly, they didn't have much to say.
I feel like you're holding back on us.
No, I
we want
really
the drama. We want the deets.
I know. Sorry, there's not much with me. Like I try to keep like my life drama free.
Wait, so how is your family reacting to your fame? Because your family was so loved. Because I feel like everyone, like, once we realized that we loved you, we're like, okay, now we need more of Joseph. So then we like embrace the Abdin family. So how's your family reacting to all this?
They're loving it in different levels. Like all my family. So my dad, for example, he wants, like, he's a very private person. He doesn't even know, I guess, somewhat. He still, I don't even think, comprehends the platform I'm on. So he like anything I share about him, he still doesn't even understand, I guess, how much attention he has. Like, he's just living in his own world, and he likes it that way, and he wants to keep it that way. My siblings are obviously slightly more aware, some more than others. My brother Abe is definitely, he's just trying to focus on schoolwork, and that's all he's doing. Adam and Jasmine are a little bit more involved. So you can see a little bit of their personalities via their social media accounts, and they love the support and the humor that comes with it. Like, a lot of these fans are really hilarious and creative.
So in the house, you also talked about how your mom had watched the earlier seasons of Big Brother, and you hoped that she was watching you on the show. Did she watch you?
Yes, she did. And
what did she think?
So she called me as well, and I called her, and she was like, I'm so happy. I'm so proud. Thank you for going in. Because she really, really didn't want me to go. She really was worried. And she was like, you proved me wrong. So she was like, I'm going to apologize for that. And she was like, I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy for the game you played. I'm so happy for the representation you brought and the son I raised. So she was like, just so ecstatic, which was like a huge reason I wanted to go on the show. That response was what I was trying to elicit, like, entirely. So it was so reassuring to get it, because, there were bigger reasons I wanted to go on the show, and seeing that I might have fulfilled some of them through my mom was really reassuring.
So another question that I had was, being the oldest in an immigrant family, how important was it, not only in the game, but I guess also beyond the game, being a positive role model for your siblings and, being that positive representation?
So obviously, as the oldest in an immigrant family, we are like usually the role model and have a lot of expectations to us. So I'm extremely, grateful that I could on a bigger platform and live to it to some extent. My siblings have told me, previously that, they felt like a lot of their guidance and a lot of their decisions, came from me as like a role model and almost like a second father figure. Our dad was always working, like, he was a single father, always working. So they're like, a lot of our, direction kind of came from you. And being able to possibly have shown that or set expectations on a bigger platform means the world to me. So I primarily was doing it for my siblings as my immediate drive, but the trickle down effect, if it was bigger, means a lot to me.
And your family, your sister's a lawyer. Your brother, is your brother a lawyer?
So my sister's in law school now. My youngest brother is applying to law school, and my other brother is applying to dental.
Man, y'all are smart.
Weird, yeah. Yeah, Baba was not playing games in school, even though we were.
So as an attorney, what were there any legal skills that you relied on to, I guess, help you in the game at all?
I would say probably just the ability to negotiate, and I think like some of my negotiation skills and just people skills as a whole came into play here, because the last job I was doing when I was working personal injury had to do a lot with negotiation, speaking with adjusters, and you would think a lot of it is legal, but a lot of it is just understanding that these are human beings and we're both trying to get to a similar conclusion. So I would say the people aspects I picked up through, law school, interacting with all my friends and peers while at the same time we're going against each other because it's graded on a curve. So I would just say like those skills I picked up along the way of, interact with others, which a huge reason I think for me is just like understanding people are people and moving forward in that method rather than like I'm trying to manipulate or do something of this. I try to really just understand what the goal is here for both of us.
So did you ever have a suspicion that Michael was also an attorney?
Only in jury, and I think I thought he was like a politician. I once I started to get bigger pictures of how he was playing, I thought he was playing very well. And I think in jury, I started to assume I was like, would make jokes like he's a politician or maybe some sort of government official. Attorney exactly, not entirely, but I definitely saw some overlap. I remember in my head thinking sometimes when I would like think back to how he maneuvered some things, I'm like, he reminds me of some like almost coworkers or like kids from law school, and it didn't fully piece together, but it started to pick up. So I don't know if it shows. I haven't seen the episode, but when he tells us he's a lawyer, like I start getting so ecstatic. So I was like, oh, I kind of had a feeling, but I don't want to. It was so hard for me not to share it with him right there because I wanted to talk to him about a lot of aspects of like our careers, but I withheld.
So okay, I have a question. If you, and also I don't really know, I'm not like you. I'm not going to law school. I'm not going to jail school. My brain doesn't really comprehend the full picture, but I think this is how it works. So if you were going up against Michael in like in a court case, right? Who would win?
Against Michael or I?
No, you or Michael, yeah.
Whoever has the better case.
Okay, so let's say they're both crap cases, and you are like, oh my gosh, like both of us, like you both have an equal level playing field of a really bad case. Who would win? Who would crap themselves out?
I'll give it to Michael. Michael can be very convincing, and he has a lot of experience under his belt. I'm giving it to Michael.
Okay, but you have a lot of experience too. I did want to talk about your time in law school and kind of like getting to know you, because I feel like now the game is the game. It's fun, but we dissect it so many times. The fans really love you for who you are as Joseph, and I want to, we want to get to know you more. So talk about like your time in law school. Like you took the bar early because you're super smart. And you were working at the Florida Supreme Court. And then also, I want to hear about your volunteer work in Honduras because I know about that too. So.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. So I ended up going to Florida State Law, which was in Tallahassee, about 6 hours away from home. I went there because, I was trying to stay out of they offered me the best scholarship. So I ended up in Tallahassee. It being the capital of Florida, I was like, okay, maybe an opportunity can come out of this. So I ended up in Tallahassee. Don't really know anybody, first generation law student. My dad was actually he was a law student in the Middle East. And because of the conflicts over there, he came to America, restarted nothing, didn't even speak the language. So now that I'm coming here, I have this opportunity. I was like, I want to make the best of it. So I'm starting in law school in Tallahassee. Don't really know one, just navigating it. Hilariously, I still remember the first meet and greet in the law school, who he later becomes a very close friend of mine. When I approached the meet and greet, it was like at a coffee shop. And when I walked up, he was like, he told me later, he's like, I thought you were coming to order coffee. And someone told me like, oh, this is like the law school like meetup, like as if I'm in the wrong place. And I was like, no.
I feel like you look like a lawyer.
Yeah. So definitely not. I thought so too, apparently. But so I walk in, I start trying to get to meet people. I'm trying to navigate everything that's going on. I still remember it was so overwhelming, so much to take in. And I made some lifelong friends there, but COVID, obviously I was doing law school during the pandemic, and I actually had COVID throughout law school, I think twice, and while I was studying for the bar. So It was definitely an ordeal. Yeah. But I wanted to get back to my family, because as much as I had some great experiences in Tallahassee and met some great people, I miss my family. So I was like, you know what, let me zip through this. Let me try and take these classes where my scholarship applies and like get as many as I can out of the way. I met an amazing Supreme Court justice who, you know, mentored me a lot, and I ended up working at the Florida Supreme Court with him, and I had such great experiences there, just reading and briefing cases, doing discretionary opinions, just getting the full aspect of what goes on, you know, in the state of Florida. And from that point, me and that justice decide to volunteer. He has a Mia Esperanza, which is a volunteer organization for him that helps impoverished women in Honduras, like, get back on their feet. We went over there. We met with local officials to see how we could help cities. We were just donating food, getting a new perspective on life. And we planned, before I actually ended up going in the house, of trying to set up this lawyer. We were thinking of calling it like Lawyers as Leaders, or some type of organization as lawyers that, you know, venture out and try to do better and help impoverished communities. I ended up in the house while that was under wraps. So hopefully I plan on resuming that work.
Yeah. What's the plan for that? That sounds like a really great thing.
Yeah, we just recently got in touch. So he has since retired from the Florida Supreme Court. So we're planning on like getting involved on more volunteer work. Obviously, as I'm in a situation like where I'm going to go with my legal career, along with these newfound opportunities that came out of Big Brother. Once the dust settles a little bit, I definitely want to dive back more into my volunteer opportunities, because the more, right when I started to pick up into it, then, you know, the bar came around, and there was always like an excuse. The bar came around, Big Brother, and I'm really trying to, you know, stop those excuses and get back into volunteering as much as I can.
Excuses. I feel like that's just a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like, oh, I can't take the bar because I have to go on this nationally televised show. Like, it's not like
yeah, which was fair enough. Which I was like, but I just want to, and I don't want to keep deprioritizing it. So I just wanted to bump up in my priority list sooner rather than later, and just get back involved with it, because I probably will share some of the stories, but it changed my life. That volunteer experience, that trip to Honduras was something I'll never forget. The perspectives I gained. A lot of the way I handle negativity and problems in life has to do with that trip to Honduras and volunteering there and seeing the circumstances and conditions in which others are living in. It just has given me a far greater grateful perspective in life and in the world.
Gosh, I feel like the fans would love to hear that. You should do like a YouTube video or something about it.
I think I am. I think on one of my Instagram highlights, there's like a short clip of like what I was doing there. We were also working with another organization called Excel Global, and they did a slight recap of what we were doing. So that was great, but I definitely plan to discuss it more.
That's awesome. So with all these opportunities, or I guess excuses as you call them, with all these excuses, how are you planning on juggling, you know, your newfound, you know, Big Brother fame, opportunities, all of that, with your law school or not law school, but with your law opportunities? And I don't know, how are you going to do it all?
So it's definitely TBA. I plan to talk with Xavier on how he navigated through everything. So that collaboration is definitely going to come soon. But as of now, I haven't found a very, you know, foolproof method of tying them together with a bow. 3 weeks,
so I don't blame you.
Yeah. So I'm still working on it, but there's still some things I have to situate. You know, I fell off the face of the earth for 4 months. So there's like a lot of paperwork and stuff like that I have to, you know, work through. And as I situate that, I'm definitely trying to see what aspects and what area of law I find the most appealing. I was still so early in my legal career that I was still hopping around between appellate work, tort law, you know, and in-house counsel. So however I find a lifestyle that complements what I want to do along with these new opportunities, that's probably where I'll fall.
So I don't know if this is like a big deal or what, but I had so many questions. People were begging me to ask you about this modeling contract. And I had no idea what they're talking about, but everyone's like, ask him about the modeling contract. What
Yes. So Taylor and I, so a couple of people started to reach out about possible modeling opportunities, but Taylor obviously had, and I trust her judgment and her calls extremely. She's a lot more informed in this area than I am. And this is the agency that she was signed with before Big Brother. So when I had an opportunity to sign with them, I definitely took it. And, Taylor obviously vouched for them, and that was all I needed. So I'm definitely excited to see like where that takes me. And that's like a new door that opened. Like, I never would have thought that. Hilarious. I think I got a note sent. It was like a year ago today, and I'm working on a computer. I would have never thought like a year later I'm like signing with a model company. Like it's crazy.
Life is crazy, man. Well, last question, because we got to wrap this up, but what would you say is the biggest lesson that you learned from being on Big Brother?
Oh my God. The whole takeaway is just, I would say, wow, there's so many of them, but I think the most ultimate one is just to try and, keep pushing out good, be a good person, treat people as people, and don't let incentives, fool you otherwise. I would like, one big thing for me, I was just really hopeful that 750 didn't get me to act in ways that were so not in line with my character that I would look back and watch the show and be like, who is that guy? So that was like a big thing for me. And I forgot the cameras were there a lot of the time. So like,
so did I.
When people talk to me yeah. So like when I do speak with people, and it's hilarious how like I feel like you're so familiar with me. It just kind of, reassures me that, I played the game in a way where like I can be proud of. And just, in life, there's always going to be a lot of temptations, a lot of incentives to not fall in line with who you are. Try and avoid them.
Well, Joseph, it was a pleasure to have you on the Conspire Away Bitches podcast. Thank you for conspiring with me.
Thank you so much for having me, Kat.
And really quick before we go, so we have like a tradition, if you will, where my tagline before I end my podcast is just a Conspire Away Bitches. Oh, wait, you should actually be perfect at this, because you're the one, you brought back my saying on TV.
Oh yeah, it was Indy.
You brought back the Conspiring Bitches. I completely forgot about that.
Yes. I have to give it mainly to Indy. Indy was 100%, but because I love clowning Indy, like I was doing it as well.
Well, I had a whole list going of like how many times people mentioned me or the Conspiring Bitches, but you really brought us back. So thank you for keeping my
oh my God, no,
my legacy alive.
Well, thank you for giving us an iconic statement to run through the house with.
So could you just lead us out of the podcast with your best Conspire Away, bitches?
Conspire away, bitches.
Love it.
Thank you.